Only a wrestler can say that.
That's how things go.
You are that promotion's person. You are the one that they think is the most important person at that time. I'm not like religious.
Right.
I must listen to Freddie on loop.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to All Angles Wrestling, and welcome to my guest, hailing from Chichester, West Sussex, now residing in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He is a former APW heavyweight champion, former Lucha Britannia champion, formerly Charlie Checkmate, currently Freddie Mercurio. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest this evening, Freddie Mercurio.
I know where you did your research. You went to cagematch.de, the German website. Do you know how I know? Because it's had my name. It's had my name correct. It's had certain elements of my career correct. It's had where I'm born as Chichester, and I have never even lived in Chichester. Right? It's like he hails from Chichester. I'm from Shoreham by Sea. Thank you very much. Right? I will admit, I do have some connection to Chichester, right? Educational,
right?
But that's about as close as I come to
Damn
it.
it! I knew I'd mess
hailing
up
from
somehow.
Chichester, never in a million years. He hails from Chichester. What a knob!
How close are the? I'm starting off excellently, folks. I promise you the rest of this will seem way more researched. Is that something you can change? Have you ever reached out to them and been like, hey, I'm not from here. You're giving me a bad name by saying I'm from Chichester.
I did think about it for a while, but it kind of gives me something to talk about when I get there. It's like, oh, you did your research.
How accurate is the rest of it? Former APW heavyweight champion, former Lucha champion, formerly Charlie Checkmate.
There's elements. Charlie Checkmate is my career for a certain segment. So all of my premier promotions, wrestling time was as Charlie Checkmate, simply because at the time I was Chester Checkmate.
That's where the Chichester is getting confused.
Exactly. Cheeky Chester and all that causing trouble. But yeah, I remember it originally was a hooded character for Chester Checkmate. And basically I did a little mini tryout match because with a lot of wrestling promotions, sometimes the in isn't like a training school. It's not an introduction. It's turn up, have a chat. Maybe they'll let you have a roll around so they can see what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned up, he saw the outfit, let me have a roll about and show what I could do, put me on the show. And I got to say, I love working for Premier Promotions for John Fremantle. One of the only places in the United Kingdom that still does the round system.
I was going to ask about that because you were doing a lot of British rounds wrestling. Was that something that you were wanting to do, or is that their default is everything is British rounds?
That place, everything is done round system.
Right.
Tag matches are done 2 out of 3 falls.
Right.
And you learn a lot doing that style of match because everything like is geared towards the American style wrestling, and like obviously there's British twists here and there, but no one really does rounds. And for me, it was very important to learn that and get on those shows. Also, it was my local promotion, so it meant a lot to me to get to there and get on those venues that I'd grown up fairly nearby to.
Right. So that was important as well. With a round system style wrestling match, does that teach you a different element of crowd control? Because you're constantly having to do matches where it doesn't end immediately. There's more of a build up. It's different from as you say, American style matches that you'd have been doing in other companies.
Yeah, you need to learn how to keep them going because often those matches last longer, and even though they'll say it's 5-minute rounds and all this, you're thinking, okay, but this is a long match. It's not like the usual, okay, go out, give me 10 minutes. And for those, they always run about 20-25 minutes. It's very rare you get okay, we're going in doing a quick squash. You can't really do that. You've got to always be on it and have a bit of everything. Staying with the audience is tough though, because like, especially a modern audience with rounds, trying to keep the kids and the families going, because quite often these shows are in the evening. It's very rare you'll get a matinee show. Kids at a certain point start to nod off, and
and there's the explaining, because it's not as you say, everything's geared towards American style. Most people will be used to that. WWE have started to incorporate British style into the NXT UK stuff they were doing, but even that has obviously started to go by the wayside. So it's not got a prominent position at the moment. So I can imagine. Is that something you miss doing since moving to Canada?
God, yes. I would kill to do a good round system match. I'm hoping when I sneak back over in November, just for a cheeky week or two, that a show's going on. But like, it's difficult to get everything planned around the same time, particularly with specific promotions.
It's like ones that you know you'd want to work with type thing.
Yeah, and I'm not one of these I'll work for anyone and everyone,
right?
Because like I know there's the age-old work everywhere and do all this and grind. I'm now at that stage where I've wrestled a fair amount. I'm winding down. I'm doing less, and in all honesty, a lot of it is by choice,
right?
Because like I'm kind of sick of just going and doing the shows where you just destroy yourself for little
reaction, little.
I'll toot my own horn. I'll always get a reaction. But like, it's when you work your absolute arse off and you get no media,
right?
Like, to me, that's always the big reward thing. Like, ideally I like working places where they've got a certain level of production,
right?
What they're not even filming, like there's no photographers ever. Like, it sounds awful and bit vain, but like wrestlers need it. They need the media, and like they need that content, especially now. And I think that gets forgotten a lot.
And it's also, as you say, like it is a sign of quality of a promotion if they are bothering to pay a photographer to be there, because it shows that they're willing to invest in their own product as well as helping the wrestlers out.
Yeah, I mean, even something as simple as, does it get reported in the local paper? Like, this is such a minor thing, but so many promotions don't even reach out to local websites like the What's Going Ons and stuff like this. Like, there's literally one for every single town, city, everything in the world.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't even reach one of those, are you promoting?
Or are you just putting on the show? You're missing the promotion, the promoter element of it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I wonder why the attendance is low.
So you say you're slowing down in terms of bookings that you're taking. Is that also changing your in-ring style? Or is this a case of you're looking ahead to the future, you know you're not going to be doing this forever, so while you can still go 100%, you're reducing how often you have to do it?
I mean, 100% is an interesting one. I don't think I've been able to go 100% for many years now.
Right.
But I mean, that's the other thing. Like, I do give off the aura that I can do quite a bit, and I do sort of hold back certain elements. It's like, yes, I can take a line and shooting star press, sell it.
Yeah.
Will I be doing that every match? Probably not. And it's having those elements like I'm known for my moonsault, like particularly known for my moonsault, and there's many other high flying elements I can do, but I normally just highlight one or two
Right.
per match, and that's been something I've sort of learned over the years. Is it's get that reaction from it, make it mean something, and think of snapshots,
Right.
like almost you used to get certain books with like you'd go like a chapter or two and then all of a sudden there'd be an illustration,
Yeah.
and you'd just be like, holy shit, and you'd focus in on that moment and you'd try and analyze the illustration. I want to give those illustration moments during the story of the
Right.
match, and I do that quite often by putting in something like I'll miss my moonsault, and I deliberately like to make that a thing because it makes people go, oh, because it's always such a boom, such a huge noise, such a huge moment. Everybody's fallen on their front at some stage in their life. Everybody can relate to it. Now, when you add the height and the flip, people are like, well, he's fucking himself up. Like, he's fucked up. Like, you are giving them a wow moment to hold on to, and by doing that, it's always remembered. It always gets good footage. There's always a running joke of, oh, you're going to miss a moonsault. Probably.
Yeah. Because that gets reaction.
It gets the reaction. People wonder, how does your body cope with that? And I say to them, well, I wear 2 pairs of knee pads. And I like, some people think I'm joking when I say that. I literally wear 2 pairs of Trace style knee pads, which are like these big thick ones that you can get, and I have a nice knee pad cover over the top, and I've never had issues with my knees, and I've been involved in wrestling in some way or another since 2002.
Yeah.
So whenever I see somebody without knee pads, I think, yeah,
that's a mistake. On that, actually, because it only really dawned on me as you said that that's a 20-year career you've had, which is probably a terrifying thing to hear said out loud. How much have things changed? Obviously, you've also changed continent in that time, but how much have things changed in the industry, and is it a good change for you?
It's a lot of change. And the big change is the amount of scumbags who have been pushed out and revealed, which is probably one of the best things that could have happened to wrestling. At the same time, there's so many of them still there, and now they're hiding, and they know what can happen, but they're still out there doing it. And it's like, and I've said this to many people. I absolutely love wrestling. I also absolutely hate wrestling, and it's one of those. It's a beautiful industry, but it's absolutely disgusting and despicable all at the same time. And yeah,
of course. Is that part of why you're
like, oh, go on.
Is that part of why you're selective about who you work with as well?
Oh yeah, that's a big no. Yeah, like so many times I've sort of had to just move away from certain places,
right,
and just go, yeah, I'm all right not taking that car journey.
Right. Yeah.
Like the age old is always bring your gear. Always remember your gear. Don't always admit you've got it.
Yeah. if you see how things are set up. How important is word of mouth for you then, from other wrestlers telling you what a place is like? Is that it seems like it'd be quite a significant thing for indie wrestlers?
Yeah, everybody talks. Everybody wrestlers are the biggest bunch of gossips you'll ever in any industry. Like streaming, they're bad. Like theater, they're bad. Like any cabbies, not as bad as wrestlers. Wrestlers will bitch and moan and talk all sorts of nonsense about anything and everything, and like it's kind of been a good thing recently in the last couple of years with how the word's gotten out about certain pervert scumbags and all that, but a lot of misinformation comes from that.
Right.
A lot of he said, she said, and all this, and it's very you've got to fully fact check everything.
And not every company or individual can have a third party group that looks at the he said, she said, for example.
Yeah.
Just talking very timely in the week that we're talking about this.
Yeah, just a little bit relevant there.
So instead of talking about the world of wrestling as a whole, since I've got you here to speak to yourself, let's narrow it a little bit more down to Freddie Mercurio and this character and this story that you've been telling. Explain the character of Freddie Mercurio to me and to anyone watching who may not have seen before.
So I'm Freddie Mercurio. I'm back from the dead, luchador, rock star god who basically via genetic engineering and certain DNA sampling was brought back to basically save the world and rock you.
So pretty simple and straightforward, really.
Yeah, I mean, basically they spliced all the genes of the top luchadors they could find, as well as some dude that nobody's heard of who has a fairly all right voice, and they ended up with Freddie Mercurio.
Where did this character idea come from? Was it something you came up with? It sounds like a fever dream you might have had. Where did it all stem from?
It's all from the mind of Gary Vanderhorn and the Lucha Britannia production.
Right. So this is something that they came to you with and said this would be a good idea. Why you in particular?
Because I grew a moustache to piss off Greg Burridge.
Right. And that was enough for them to go, hey, you look a little bit like we should give you, here's an idea.
So I basically had been training at the London School of Lucha Libre, and I'd been doing a previous character. I'm going to out myself. La Mosca Cojonera, the bollocks fly.
Oh, lovely.
I did that for a while, and we were doing training shows as well. And the training shows, people that were on like the main roster would experiment with other characters.
Right.
So I turned up with a gear bag to one training show, and my gear bag I packed with everything gear wise, because wrestlers always get a collection of everything. So
you don't know what might be useful or come in handy. There's death matches that involve like action figures as a weapon. You know, not anything could be used. You know,
an action figure used to be a championship belt in a certain British promotion.
All right.
Yeah, there was a Smash Championship,
which was an action figure. So yeah,
Smash
anything
sprayed gold.
Anything in this industry can come in handy. So you showed up to a training seminar session day with a kit bag full of everything you had.
Yeah. And they told me, today you're going to be Dirk Flex Troopertash.
Right.
And I said, cool. Any more? No? Cool. I put on black tights, yellow kick pads, had yellow and black knee pad covers, taped my wrists, came to the ring with my coffee keep mug thing, just because at the time I had grown a moustache and I had my hair parted in general, and Greg Burridge, one of the trainers, would regularly be like, "Get that stupid thing off your face," and I'd be like, "Fuck off." And I just kept going with it because it made me laugh. And I brought the Keep Cup to the ring as I entered, and the match was against, what is he called, El Nordico, who was like this big fat lad who just was really fucking tall, real fucking mass, looked like a proper frozen in time
Viking man,
Nordic Viking man, and it was very good. And it was like, the job is to put him over and try something out. Cool. Went out, said cheers to the audience, kept it fairly camp and silly just because I want to be fairly flamboyant at the best of times when I wrestle, because I enjoy it. And quite frankly, it's me. So I went out, did that, and it's something resonated, and they just said, "We're going to do another show. On this one, you're Alfredo." So
starting to go towards,
yeah, you're Alfredo. Okay, black tights. I'll wear some amateur boots, no kickers, and I found in the venue a tiny leather jacket. Like, I squeezed into this leather jacket. It zipped up, but I could just barely zip it up.
Right,
So
okay.
it was just open and like kept on for the whole match. This leather jacket. Yeah. And went out in a tag match against two white rapper dudes who were just doing their thing. And who was it I was teaming with? Peace, Ollie Peace. He's a young lad that literally was like, "Give Peace a chance."
Right, okay.
Doing this, right? Match starts. We're like a minute or two in, and he's Peace is sent off, given a back elbow, splits his whole head open, crimson mask.
Right.
There's a very nice moment in the video of that match where you can hear one of the guys watching going, "Bloody hell, we got Clara at match one, we got Clara." And he's doing this, and all plans for the match just went, nope. You're taking a big beating, and we're going to work that, and then I'm going to come in House of Fire.
Right.
Let's fucking go. And we did that, and for some reason that really worked. And they said to me, "Lucha Britannia, you're on the main show as
Alfredo."
Mercurio.
Oh, it's they dropped all pretense. They're just like, "You're Freddie Mercury now."
No, Freddie Mercurio.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. They switched it, and we just went with it. It was an experience and a half, because they were like, "Get a proper Freddie Mercury outfit." And literally, I used one of those costume ones you can get cheap.
Right.
That was my wrestling gear.
That's really good. I know that you've
evolved a bit since.
Hopefully. I mean, when was this? When are we talking in terms of time?
Oh my god,
2016, earlier than that?
2014.
2014, right?
I want to say Freddie's 8 years old.
There's something about describing it that way is very weird.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to ask, has at any point you've been like, "God, I wish I could shave this mustache," or is it just now it's part of?
It's standard.
Yeah.
It's always there. Occasionally this grows,
right?
Because like that's how I live my life. I don't do crazy amounts of matches, and that allows me to grow a bit. But there'll always be something here, and I learned the lesson once when I was like, I've got a big fucking gap. yeah, let's have a big shave. Random booking comes in,
right?
As and they want Freddie. You know, I haven't got a moustache at the moment, right? No, it's fine. Just come anyway. The audience chanted, "Where's your mustache gone? Where's your mustache
That's
gone?
quite good.
Where's your
To be
mustache
fair.
gone?" But yeah, I was quite lucky on that one. That was quite a fun show. But
I know that you've said before that prior to doing this character, doing this gimmick, you weren't particularly a fan, or not a big fan at least, of Freddie Mercury, of Queen. And so to test if that's changed in the time since, this is what you've said before, I'm just quoting you. We have a game that I like to do on All Angles Wrestling that people have seen previous guests do, which is called Rush Mountmore. I'm going to give you a topic, and you have 15 seconds to give me your top 4 of that topic in no particular order. It's just whatever comes to your mind first, okay? And I've already given you a hint to what it is. So are we ready, Freddie Mercurio, for your Rush Mountmore?
Sure.
I'm going to be doing the timer on my phone, which is the level of preparedness I am always for this segment. Your topic, Freddie, you have 15 seconds to give me your top 4 Queen songs.
One Vision, Don't Stop Me Now. Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh,
what's it gonna be? No.
3 in the 15 seconds. That's what did one come to your mind as the timer went off there?
Want to Break Free.
Want to Break Free. There we go. There's 4. You seem to react when I said that you weren't a big fan. Is that, would you, well, given you only named 3 songs?
I'm not like religious.
Right.
I must listen to Freddie on loop.
No.
But at the same time, I've watched so much media and so much content Queen related just to come up with ideas. And like, wrestlers should always watch as much wrestling as possible. Right. And that's very easy. But what's not easy is to watch other stuff and bring in other elements and stuff like this. And a lot of wrestlers seem to forget to do that. And they'll just be so fixated on the wrestling that they forget, you know, there's other stuff out there, right?
Right.
Like popular culture. Have you encountered things
that you can draw on and take from and do stuff with?
This is a thing. Do you know of it?
If you could get away with it, would you do an Iron Man gimmick?
It's been done. It's been done so badly as well.
I always like, I forget the name of it, but as someone who's a big Power Rangers fan, I like that when that was hot in '95, WWF tried to do a gimmick where they had someone come to the ring without a mask on and then put the mask on and wrestle. And the audience was very confused as to how any of that was supposed to work.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't.
There's so much weirdness in wrestling, but like that's what I'm talking about. Like, you need to find the weirdness outside of wrestling and bring it in. And like, what's a good example?
This is where I've also forgotten all wrestlers ever, by the way.
This is my head on a baby's body. Right. This is a example of random that works. Right. And it's taking that random and bringing it in. Like, I'm watching a lot of parkour content at the moment. And that's giving me ideas of movement that can be tried in different ways. It's making me think, oh, so you've done that style of flip on that style of surface. You've done that sort of jump in that manner. And that's the sort of thing. Watching like dance, like I can't watch dance shows like without thinking, oh, that would be great into this move.
You're seeing a dip and you're thinking,
I watch Strictly in the wrong way. Like all of those sorts of shows, like TV, like random YouTube.
Yeah. You find things that you can incorporate that wouldn't typically be involved in wrestling, and that allows you to evolve. Is one of those things the catchphrase "Freddie loves you, baby"? Is that something that you've seen done in other Queen-related media, and you've taken it?
I've taken, like, I say that sort of thing now and again. I say all sorts of weird things though. Like there's so much that just occurs in my brain and just sticks there.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's simply I consider myself not a standard professional wrestler. I'm a panto stunt performer, because I give you stunts and ha-has, and that I think should give you an idea of where I go sometimes with the stuff I see. Like, so it's Louis Spence once on a panto that I watched, was, what was it called? Hoff the Hook. It was David Hasselhoff doing Peter Pan, right?
Yeah.
Which sounds wrong when I say it in that way.
It's very UK, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
I don't know if, is Canada a panto place? Because I know that, no, it's not. Because I like describing to people here in the UK when they ask me, like, what do you get out of wrestling? I'm like, well, it's pantomime with stunts. So I love that that's how you've described yourself as a wrestler. But you can't use that example anywhere other than the UK, where we have, you know, people off the telly doing children's nursery rhymes as a show.
I had to describe it to a wrestling promoter once. He said, well, what's your wrestling style? I said, panto stunt. And he said, I don't know what that means. And I said, balls. Just had to fully go into it for ages, and then he got it and booked me, so it was perfect.
That's a good sign. We're talking about drawing inspiration from elements of pop culture to create characters. Obviously, there's some famous ones. For example, Scott Hall's Razor Ramon, taking from things like Scarface, various other things that just I'm not off the top of my head can't think of. But something I'm always curious of.
Turn to the wrestling figures near you.
Yeah, this would maybe help. Although, which one are you referencing?
Well, any of them, surely.
Well, I mean, we've got Drew McIntyre, who's tucked away back there, who's just a man.
He chops hard.
Umaga is also there.
Umaga,
who's just Polynesian warrior. We've got the franchise Shane Douglas, who is again a man. We've got Colin Delaney
with tassels.
He's a man
with tassels.
Have you heard him explain the tassels? Because this is one of those things that, as a fan of wrestling, I don't really register until it's explained. And I was like, that's really interesting.
I've not heard him say it, but all I think is my friend Carl's catchphrase, which is tassels. They're not just for lap dancers.
I don't know if Mr. Douglas would agree with it, but his reason for having them is that he really struggles to get definition in his calves. He has really small calves. So to hide that, you get tasseled boots, which as soon as he explained that, I was like, well, that explains so much of elements of wrestling that I don't think about as just a fan, where it's like, oh, well, this is a limitation I have. How do I hide that? Well, I'll put tassels on my boots, because then people aren't thinking, wow, that man's got small calves. They're going, look at the tassels on his boots, much like lap dancers. So
see, I say it and now it's in your head. You're welcome.
With this is the question I have that you might be able to answer for me. With gimmicks that are based on an existing property or an individual, do you have any concern ever about legal ramifications? Is that something that has ever entered your mind where you're like, if the Mercury estate finds out about this, I might get in trouble?
I did for a little while, and I did actually get a cease and desist once on a t-shirt.
Oh, right.
Which
what was the reasoning there?
Shit out of me. Basically, my top design that I've had for years and years and years is me moonsaulting over a unicorn, and it says unicorn salt underneath. The reason it says unicorn salt is we don't want to get in trouble over the original design, which said it's a kind of magic underneath.
Ah.
Didn't get the cease and desist from Queen or anyone Queen related, though. Came from a magic related person who apparently had the rights to that for
to the
some
phrase,
reason.
it's a kind of magic.
Like, but not just had the rights to it, had the rights to it being placed on a t-shirt.
Very specific.
Like specifically on like attire.
Right.
So as such, nope, it's gone. And literally it was like, I went back to my artist and said, we need to change it. He's like, what do we do? I literally just thought, I'm a big gentleman that does a moonsault with really good form. I'm doing it over a unicorn salt.
Simple,
and
straight to the point.
It stuck, and that became the name of my finisher.
That's good to know. Well, hopefully this interview doesn't alert the existing members of Queen. Hopefully it doesn't get that big.
Go away, Queen.
Talking of, we've addressed my collection of wrestlers behind me. I want to know who some of your favorite wrestlers are, because again, I've heard you mention in interviews that you were inspired by the likes of Matt Hardy and Jerry Lynn, but I've not heard you say who your sort of favorite wrestlers were. I know you've got an affinity for ECW, but that doesn't, in my mind, really fit with your style of wrestling. But maybe there's an element to that I'm incorrect with.
Well, I'm actually a massive deathmatch and extreme wrestling viewing fan.
Right.
Like, one of my bucket list matches, which I ended up getting coming here in Canada, was wrestling famous deathmatch wrestler Sexy Eddie, who, if you don't know Sexy Eddie, search Sexy Eddie CZW. Prepare yourself. There's a lot of blood in that. And we actually wrestled a couple of times, and they were great comedy matches because he's a full-on character. And like, I love that in death matches and in hardcore matches, how much character can be involved in those. And people just go, oh, it's garbage wrestling, there's no psychology. Garbage or not, they have a big thing with timing. It's very much about, in the same way like comedy, it's very much about building, boom. And they do a lot of that. They tease things and stuff like this. It's not about just the big bump, it's how we get there.
Yeah.
And
but if the only comedy people ever saw was really bad comedy, then they would have a poor opinion of it. But what people do is they enjoy the pop of a comedic performance, and they take that and they put it on the internet and people see it. What people tend to take from deathmatch wrestling is the things that go wrong and encapsulate that and share it with people. And
he got sliced open really badly.
Yeah,
they must be terrible. It's like, no, there's quite a higher degree of risk involved. Things might happen. Like, the same can happen in just a regular match. Like for example, my mate Ollie Peace getting busted open in the start of, that was off an elbow, a simple back elbow.
Anything can happen.
Up with bloody face because of that. Like, anything can happen in a match. Like, one of my friends, I knocked him out in a match. One of my friends, I knocked him out in a match. Only a wrestler can say that.
That's how things go.
But like, literally, it went from where was it? It was we were wrestling at the Kapow Comic Convention,
right?
Which was want to say Mark Miller's comic festival that he did. Like he did like his own sort of Comic-Con thing, and we were doing matches on it. I remember sending off this lad in like a multi-man single full match. Give him a sky high, he goes very high. A wallop, double taps back of his head, he's out. And it was a case of, okay, 1, 2, 3. Wait,
then get the paramedic.
So he's been pinned. And the referee, who thankfully was also the promoter and like always good at thinking on his feet, goes, he's been eliminated. So what was going to be a 1-fall match became a everybody's got to get pinned match.
Right.
So with 10 people, that
goes a lot longer.
Change.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't go longer. You've got to go faster. And there was a lot of very, very good individuals in the match where I moved to the corner where somebody on the opposing team was, literally said, hit me. He come off, give me the lightest clothesline thing ever. And I want to say I flipped bumped myself off it just because I was like, fuck it.
We gotta get out of here.
Yeah, I was like, we got to go. And while I'm doing this, one of the other guys is crawling around the ring going, by the way, it's elimination. By the way, it's elimination. By the way, it's elimination. Telling everyone while everybody like reworks everything on the fly.
I can imagine that being a very fun. Like if you're just thinking on the fly, how do we get out of this situation? And you're suddenly told it's an elimination match. By the way, we've only got like 5 minutes to get everyone out of this match. That turns into everyone hit your big move. We're going home.
Oh, it does. Yeah. But also it's great when it's with people you know.
Yeah.
Like where it's people you know. So it's like literally you can say, give me a move. Like, and you know and trust them enough that they're going to give you a big fucking move.
Send you on your way happily. That's cool.
I believe in kayfabe, by the way.
It's fine. I've on this channel interviewed people who are more veteran than you, who have said equally as candidly about their opinions on wrestling. So I don't know. I believe.
What's a curtain?
What's a curtain? I don't know. It's kayfabe is what you make of it in 2022, which is sometimes results in good things, sometimes doesn't, depending on how far you want to go with fictionalizing real life events. But that becomes another element of it, is how can wrestling trick the audience again, while seemingly everyone knows the reality.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing. Everybody knows how we do it. But do they?
No.
Because, like, you get the most seasoned wrestling fan in a training school, and when they have that first class, they wonder, how am I hurting so much?
They forget
it hurts.
Yeah, they forget where most of it comes from. The stunt element. So you mentioned Sexy Eddie there. You mentioned wrestling people of high standard and friends, things. Going through your cage match, seemingly some of it is incorrect, but some of it hopefully is correct. There's some names that jumped out to me as people who have since developed into like big names in different ways. I just want to get your immediate reaction to some of the names. Just tell me what you remember of them, what you think of them now, etc. I'll just say them. You let me know what you think. Josh Alexander, who you faced in 2016, a very death-proof Christmas, which is an amazing name for a show, by the way.
Yeah, like that faced him, absolute legend, top guy. One of the most fun elements of a show for me. Literally, we had a miniature match that got turned into a brawl where I was taken off with somebody else. We brawled around for the rest of the show. kept going, and we brawled through a match. Like literally, the Benny Hill music kicked in. We started brawling from the back, brawled in through the ring while the match was going on. Like literally, the match stopped with them both looking at each other. We brawl through. Josh Alexander's just following us behind, going, what? Comes through. We go to the back and disappear. And then later on, we come back and it turns into a 3-way match.
Right.
Quick match. Very fun, though.
That seems like he's the panto element.
Very good. He's very good at every element. Like everybody goes, oh, he's a very serious wrestler. He can do the fun stuff when it's right.
Yes. What about, speaking of, I suppose, serious wrestlers, Wheeler Yuta, who was part of your The Show Must Go On compilation as well?
I wrestled him in a car park.
I don't, by the way, when I'm asking these questions for people watching home, I don't know the backstory to any of these things. I've just started with the first two that are very strange, apparently. So you wrestled him in a car park?
Yeah, it was in the back of a car park in Kensington Market, a very famous part of Toronto. And we wrestled in the car park of Empanada establishment, which...
Was there a ring there? It was a ring in the car park. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Just checking.
Yeah. I jumped off the balcony roof during that match, and he moved.
Was he supposed to?
Yeah.
All right. Good.
I mean, no. He was supposed to stay exactly there. No, that was good because that was actually the first time I'd met him, and we just had a fun, silly match. It was very good. Good.
You competed against the Super Smash Brothers, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. Yeah, they're obviously big names in Canada.
Yeah, they're top lads. One of the matches I actually arrived very late to because of traffic, and I distinctly remember that match because I said to them, okay, everybody knows my stuff. I'll see you there, plan it, and just send me what I'm doing over Facebook Messenger. Like, so I got the match notes on Facebook Messenger, and I was like, cool, when are we going out? Cool, I've got just about enough time to get dressed.
Right.
and I just remember, what was it? Sammy Callahan was facing one of our other guys, I want to say Mason, and they were jokingly coming up and saying, do you want us to go first? We can get you more time. And it's like, you just want the merch spot. You want the earlier spot so you can sell stuff at half time. Cheeky. And it was a very fun match. I ate a proper sack of shit in that match. I got thrown out, and I totally missed the dude, and just like there was a full-on landing where one of the guys was like, I think Freddie's dead.
So are we talking front, back, neck? Where are we landing with this?
Flipped over the top to the outside and landing very hard on like my hip.
Oh,
on one
right.
side. And because of the way the hole was, it just made this tremendous bump.
Oh,
big echoey. And I just remember at the time there was was it Stu was doing a big dive to the outside after that. And
you weren't there to catch.
No, I said to the I turned to one of the guys and said, I'm not fucking moving.
Okay. A couple of people who are tied together in AEW at the moment. You competed in a match that included Maxwell Jacob Freeman and Sonny Kiss in Miracle in Greektown, but you've also competed against MJF's former assistant Wardlow in Greektown Pro Wrestling as well. I think all of these are
never in the ring at the same time as MJF.
Oh,
I've chatted with him loads just from the shows, just chin wagging nonsense and stuff. Sonny Kiss, I actually teamed with Demand Lucha It was myself, Sonny, and Jimmy Jacobs.
Yeah.
And that was Jimmy Jacobs' first match back on the indies.
Right.
Which was really weird to me.
that you were putting
why am I in this match? Like, there's many other people that could be in this match.
It's a good thing to be given the opportunity for. What about Wardlow? As I say, you were in I think it was a big match with lots of people.
That was the Mikey Whipwreck over the top rope invitational.
Ah.
So that actually featured Mikey Whipwreck.
Yeah.
Well.
Was that a dream for you then, as an ECW fan?
Yeah, dude. What's still weird to me is Mikey is I will always consider him a friend now.
Right.
We got chatting at Greek Town, which is where that match happened, and we just kind of hit it off a bit, because normally these name wrestlers will come to shows and nobody talks to them.
Right.
Here in Canada, it's very weird. Very, very weird. Nobody wants to talk to them. They sort of go, hey, hello, sir, how are you doing? And it's very respectful, but at the same time, chill out. We're just people, just chat.
Right. That's not been an issue for you.
Well, yeah, like, why just talk? Be a normal human. Or the politics is this: when you get to a show, you must go round and say hello and shake everybody's hand and be like you mean like a regular human?
Suppose. Speaking of regular humans, I couldn't go through this list without asking you about Scotland's own Grado. You wrestled him in a singles match. What do you remember about interacting with Grado?
He lost his fanny pack.
Oh, I hear he does that a lot, to be fair. I've heard this is a regular occurrence.
He not only lost it in the match, the ref was who's a complete wanker. Proper scumbag. The referee, just from being useless, Grado just literally grabbed him and choke slammed him. This referee just fucking goes up, and it's just like probably one of the best ref bumps I've ever seen. Just fuck it.
Just go.
He was gonna go. There was no way Grado wasn't having him fucking jump.
Just because the ref misplaced the fanny pack?
No, just the ref was being shit.
Unrelated. Two different issues colliding at once.
But yeah, it was fun nonsense. And speaking of Scottish wrestlers, your Drew McIntyre, I've encountered him as well.
Oh, right.
Trained with him at a training camp at the FWA Academy.
Oh, really?
Portsmouth. Yeah.
Hold on. In Portsmouth, was that his first thing as well?
You know the picture, right? I
don't know the picture, but I know the documentary. I remember the footage of him on the train, if that makes sense.
So for stuff, there's a photo that does the rounds every so often from that training camp. Look at you typing frantically.
Yeah, I need to find it. You can tell because my screen suddenly went very white.
So I'm in that picture. Very, very different look. Very different look. And I distinctly remember Chop Wars, because there was two rings and we were split off into two groups. And it was literally chop, then the other person chops, and you keep going until somebody goes, no, I'm good. And I won my rings round and he won his rings round. Right. And I said, fuck it then, let's do a final. And I chopped him. He chopped me.
I
lost. Chopped him. He chopped me. I said, oof, I'm done.
Well, I don't know if I found the right photo, but I've certainly found a photo. I'm going to need you to point out who you are at a later date. but no, that's an excellent story to know. just since we're talking about Drew, one of the other things I remember from his like backstory is that one of the earliest bits of coaching he got was Jake the Snake Roberts coming to a post office near where Drew lived and doing a training seminar in the back room of the post office. Have you had anything weird like that coming up? Have you had any similarly strange experience in the world of wrestling when it comes to being taught how this world works?
Trying to think of there's many options. I can't think of all of them. One popping into my brain is I wrestled in an industrial estate for like a trainee show thing, and it was like a industrial estate that had been turned into an artist style squat.
Right.
So like they turned it into this wonderful utopia of art and information and creatives, and it's just like, that's cool, do it, we're wrestling here. This is so fucking weird. And I just remember it because I went out for the match in the evening, and everyone smoked weed in there.
Right.
And I went out for as a heel in a tag team. I took 2 steps and I was like,
they're hotboxing the industrial estate.
Well, above the ring we had a tarpaulin just in case it rained. So pretty much. And I just remember like going, bloody hell, thank goodness I'm the bad guy in this match. So I'm going to keep this real fucking basic. Because like I just, although that was also the training show where I never told so many people to fuck off in my life.
What is part of your, like, in the ring?
On the way to the ring.
Oh, people in the crowd.
Yeah, we're just going in and I'm just like, fuck you, get the fuck out of here, get out of my fucking way.
Maybe it's a good thing that they filled it with weed. Maybe it would have chilled you out a little bit more.
I was like, well, that's the thing, I don't do that sort of thing. So I used to, like, when I was a kid, but like it didn't agree with me properly. And it's like, great, now I'm being hotboxed while being an aggressive heel.
Nothing matches.
No. I'm jolly lovely. Don't you know that?
I can tell over the course of our chat, which again, thank you for being part of it. We're not done just yet. I want to very quickly talk to you about your time with Lucha Britannia, which you've obviously got fond memories for, but specifically January 2016, you won the Lucha Britannia belt. Was that the first time you'd won world title gold, or was this just the first big one?
January 2016, was that the first one? Oh, I can't remember now. Who was it? The match?
Cassius was who you won it from. And then what I was going to get
the second time.
That's the second time.
That's the second time. First time was against Santeria.
Right, okay.
The voodoo witch doctor.
Excellent. Was that your first major championship? Was it
yes.
Lucha Britannia? Yeah.
Lucha Britannia was the only championship for the company I won. The only other thing I came close to that was a prestigious thing that I got was Young Wrestler of the Year at Premier Promotions. Now, the weird thing about that was I was in my 30s getting that. And I just remember thinking, what? But yeah, apparently Charlie is just always permanently young.
That's a good character trait to have. Yeah. Your second run with the belt was only a week, winning it from Cassius in 2016 January, losing it back to him a week later, and not long after that you would move to Toronto. Was that idea to win the belt and then lose it very quickly, was that sort of like a last hurrah before you had to go, or were these two things just, did you know that you were moving to Canada at that stage?
I knew I was moving. I knew I wanted to make sure I left the right way,
Right.
which is you should leave on your back.
Mm.
Like you should help somebody on your way. So I did say we should do that sort of thing. I didn't know I was getting the belt put on me ahead of time.
As part of it.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. The first time Lucha Britannia gave me the championship, they were absolute bastards to me. Right?
In what way?
They so we did the match. I was like, okay, cool. We'll go out and do it. And come the pin, 1, 2, 3. Why didn't he kick out?
Oh, you didn't know.
Why didn't he kick out? The reaction was epic, and the look on my face is real because they didn't tell me. They hid that it was going to do that. We planned a whole section after it. The bastard Santeria guy knew he didn't have to remember, but I insisted we kept talking through
it. He was like, no, I'll remember. You're like, no, we need to.
Sorry, I got it. No, I need to know the finish. We need to get this right.
Is that like, so I know that you're saying they're bastards with it, but does that not make it incredibly special? Your first title win, you got such a genuine reaction.
It was huge. And certain people in my life were told ahead of time.
Right.
So they'd be there. And it was just like, you absolute bastards. You absolute bastards.
Going back to our chat from an hour ago, was this all caught on camera, on photograph or film?
Yeah, there's fan cam footage,
right?
At least two good options of me versus Santeria, and the moment where I win the championship. Is you can see the look, and you can see the guys like Gary is there filming
because he knows
his camera because he knows. And you also see the moment where I clock him and go, oh.
But you can't be angry because you're being handed the belt. Is that?
No, it was huge. It's such an epic night.
Is that a magical moment? First championship, not knowing it's coming, and just How does it feel when companies trust you?
It's huge because and so many people take these things for granted. It's like, you are that promotion's person. You are the one that they think is the most important person at that time. Make it seem that way. Carry yourself right and give them everything. Fuck me, I gave everything when I had that belt the first time. I did like flip dives off the fucking mezzanine to the outside.
But not regretting it, right?
No, it was hilarious fun. I just remember going up and just going, ah! And there was this great little slow-mo that I wish I could find sometime. This great slow-mo video of me just cannonballing off the top. And I remember at the time, they thought I'd just done a dive. And it wasn't until seeing the footage like a few days later that the guy was like, I didn't know you did the flip. Like, just because sometimes it calls for it and you just feel it up there.
And when you're the world champion, you always feel it.
Yeah, the next day when you're getting up and going,
well, there's so much more I could ask you about, but I think this is a good place to leave it. Talking about your first title win, talking about how important that was for you is lovely. Tell anyone that's listening, tell them where they can find you. And then I will also tell them that you can find a further follow-up interview all about Lucha Freddy's streaming over on the Arcade Glasgow YouTube channel a couple of days after this. But for now, tell them where they can find you in the meantime.
You can find me at Lucha Freddie, LuchaFreddie, on just about everywhere. Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. Snapchat.
It's also all on his
Hover. Hover. Link. There is a link tree if you find me on any of the social medias.
That has all the others.
Everything. There's so many more. You can pay me on like PayPal. I've launched a brand new merch store, which actually is really cool, and will get you a video thank you if you purchase from it.
What's the site?
Fourth Wall. So something Lucha Freddie Fourth Wall.
It's on the link tree.
Yeah, link tree. Find the link tree.
That'll be in the description for this video anyway. Well, thank you, Freddie Mercurio, for being here. And thank you, everyone watching at home. We appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for checking out All Angles Wrestling. You can catch more of us on Twitter at All Angles Rest. If you're listening to us in podcast form, remember you can check out our YouTube channel for exclusive clips and more interviews. And if you're here on our YouTube account, you can always catch us on the go by looking up our podcast on your favorite podcasting app. Thank you for checking out All Angles Wrestling. We'll see you next time.